Hello, this is the second part of our tutorial series on Gestrument Pro. In case you missed it, here's a link to the first part where we cover the basics of the app. In Gestrument Pro, instruments are built up with three different kinds of generators. One for rhythm, one for pitch, and one for sound. In this video, we're going to take a look at the rhythm generators, which are used to define the rhythms that your instruments can play. Currently, we have two different rhythm generators: pulses and patterns. We'll start by looking at pulses, which is the default rhythm generator of Gestrument Pro. The pulse generator maps note durations across the play area's x-axis. By default, durations are arranged from high to low. So by playing on the left side, you play slowly, and by playing on the right, you play quickly. Tap this button to access the rate break-off point. Here, you can lend more space to certain durations. You can reverse the scale, or rearrange the assignments as you see fit. Using the via function, you can connect a slider to the rate. This slider can then be used to limit your instrument's range of durations. Let's add another instrument. To do this, tap the overlapping circles. Then, drag the cursor indicator down towards an empty instrument tab. To choose a sound, go down to the sound generator and tap the black box to choose the sound you want. For this instrument, I want to use the 808 and 909 kit. To access all sounds in the kit, set the scale mode to local and choose the chromatic scale. By moving the cursor, you can now audition all the sounds in the kit. Once you've found a sound you like, set the instrument's max and min pitch to the sound's assigned note value. There are three ways of doing this. The first one is to tap the tiny arrows, which is good for precision. For coarse control, you can slide your finger across the parameter. Or if you already know the note value, you can write it in yourself by double tapping the parameter. Now your instrument will only play the sound you selected. Now that we have the snare set up, we can move on to note durations. This is where you select your note durations. Tap a duration to activate it. And tap again to deactivate it. The first row of durations are pretty standard. You have your whole notes, your half notes, your quarter notes, eighth notes, sixteenths, etc. The second row consists of dotted values. And the third contains triplets. Let's unmute the kick drum to continue. By pressing and holding a duration slot, you can start creating your own durations. Here, you can write in complex durations such as the eighth note quintuplet. By writing a plus sign after a duration, you can combine it with another value. You can also make your custom durations dotted or triplets by writing a period sign or a T after the value. Your possibilities are nearly endless here, so feel free to experiment and try things out as you go along. For now though, we'll just want to use the half notes for the snare. The legato probability parameter determines the probability of two notes being tied together if they share the same pitch or duration. To demonstrate, I'll add another cursor with the 808 tones preloaded. When the probability is up at 100%, you'll only play a note when the pitch or duration is changed. But at 0%, all pulses will trigger at a steady rate. By playing with the values in between, legatos will be placed randomly, creating rhythmic variation. Pause probability works the same way. The main difference here being that a pause goes silent and a legato lets the instrument ring out. Let's add some hi-hats and have a look at the phase offset. The phase offset shifts the timing of each hit. So if I have a hi-hat playing quarter notes, I can bring phase offset up to 50% to get a techno beat. The last parameter on the pulse generator is velocity, which does exactly what you think it would do. To add a more human touch to your instruments, connect a random source to your velocity. But don't forget to adjust the break-off points accordingly, or the variations will be too steep. Unless that's your thing, then don't do that. The next thing I want to show you is the pattern generator, which works like a normal step sequencer. To demonstrate this, I'll be using the hi-hat track. To switch out your current generator, press this black box and select Pattern. Tap the sequencer to start programming rhythms. The pattern generator has two views: velocity and probability. In the velocity view, you can program steps by tapping the circles. Here you can also control the step's velocity. To do this, drag your finger up and down across an active step. To program a hold, just press and hold an active step. Switching over to the probability view, we can set the probability of each step triggering. Here you can edit the pattern length. By using several pattern generators with different pattern lengths, you can create revolving patterns that change over time. The sequencer runs at a tempo corresponding to your chosen duration. Usually, a step sequencer runs at one given division of the current tempo, but with Gestrument Pro, you can move your sequencers freely within time signatures without missing a beat. Probability tilt affects trigger probability of all active steps. At negative 100%, no steps will trigger. But if you push it up to 100, all steps will trigger. And at 0, all steps will play exactly as you programmed them. Velocity scaling works just about the same way, affecting the velocity of all active steps in the sequencer. As you can see, these two generators alone provide a nearly endless array of possibilities for creating new and interesting rhythmic content. And while I can offer some tips and pointers as to how these generators work, exploring these concepts and finding what you like is entirely up to you. If you have any questions about the rhythm generators or Gestrument Pro in general, please leave us a comment. In the next video, we'll take a look at the pitch generators of Gestrument Pro. As usual, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe to get more content about Gestrument Pro. Thanks.